Order of the House, we move to topical issues, and the first is Deputy Fiona O'Loughlin to ask the Minister for Health a future location for the Alzheimer's daycare unit in Kildare. You have 4 minutes, Deputy.
Okay. Thank you, Last Ceann Corla, and may I take the opportunity to wish you and all the members of the House a very happy New Year. And I hope it will be a happy New Year with good news for those that suffer from Alzheimer's and indeed their carers and their family members who are located in Moorabbey in Monasterevin. The clock is certainly ticking for them in relation to this matter, which has very far-reaching consequences. There is currently a daycare centre whose services are serving people from South Kildare. It's located in Moorabbey in Monasterevin, which is actually now in the constituency of Laois. And my colleague, Deputy Sean Fleming, shares my absolute concern and outrage in relation to what's happening at this point in time. I was scheduled to speak on this before Christmas, and it's even more critical now at this point as another month has passed. During last summer, I was contacted by Martina Foster, whose father attends these services, and she and her family and indeed the other service users had received correspondence to say that the unit was being relocated and that the days were going to be reduced. Now, Martina and her mother look after Martina's father, Peter, and their lives basically are arranged around doing everything they can for their loved one. And the continuity of care and routine for Peter is incredibly important. And due really to the lobbying efforts of Martina and other family members that I met in Moorabbey, we were able to extend the service there, and I want to put on record my thanks to Moorabbey, until April. But the most pressing issue now is where will the service be in April of 2017. This morning I spoke to the husband of a lady who goes to Moorabbey, and he called to express his gratitude that the service is continuing. But he is obviously very concerned about what will happen when the location changes. And they don't have any family living in Ireland, and his words were that having this facility for his wife to attend makes his life almost bearable. Shocking words for any family member to have to utter about their loved ones. I've asked Minister Harris about the plans for a property which is based in Drogheda Street in Monasterevin, where this service initially was. The daycare centre that was there has been moved out to Ballykelly Football Club, close to Monasterevin but several miles out. Having said that, this unit is now empty. I understand that from the HSE that there is an intention to refurbish this property and that it will be going to design stage before the end of this month. This is the absolute perfect time to include this unit in the plans for those that suffer with Alzheimer's and use the unit in Moorabbey in Monasterevin, and for them to have a permanent home. If not, I have to ask the Minister, where do they go to? How can these families continue to survive without any adequate service in South Kildare? The battle to keep this is up and running over. It's a constant battle for the carers, and at present they actually have to do without transport to and from the centre. That was taken away from them in the last few months, and this has occurred for a number of reasons. But this lack of transport is also skewing the numbers presenting for the service, as the demand is obviously reliant on having transport that's there. The carers of the people who attend the daycare centre have had to contend with absolutely far too much. Their loved ones deserve this service and they deserve transport to it. The people who have dementia and Alzheimer's matter. They matter to the end of their lives, and it's our duty not only to help them but to assist them in living until they pass away. Thank you, Minister.
Last Ceann Corla, first of all, I want to thank Deputy Fiona O'Loughlin for raising this very, very important issue, and I know that she's a strong advocate particularly for people with dementia and Alzheimer's, and also our senior citizens generally. Can I say, Last Ceann Corla, there are approximately 55,000 people with dementia in Ireland today. These numbers are expected to increase to over 130,000 by the year 2041, as the number of older people in Ireland increases. To respond to the increased prevalence of dementia and the challenges that this poses, the Government published an Irish National Dementia Strategy in December 2014. The strategy emphasises that with the right supports, people with dementia can continue to live well and participate in their own communities for a very long time. As part of the National Dementia Strategy Implementation Programme, co-funded by the HSE and the Atlantic Philanthropies, dementia-specific intensive home care packages are being rolled out in a number of acute hospitals and surrounding communities countrywide, and are targeted at people at risk of acute hospital admission and people who have finished the acute phase of their treatment. By the end of 2016, approximately 175 people will have received a dementia-specific intensive home care package. Other elements of the National Dementia Strategy Implementation Programme include the information and awareness campaign called Understand Together, which was launched on Monday 24 October, and a programme to upskill GPs and primary care teams in dementia diagnosis and management, which is being led by the Prepare team based in UCC. Social care services, including home care, day care and respite care, are an important component of enabling people with dementia to remain living at home and participate in their own homes and communities. They also provide valuable support to carers. With regard to the specific issue of the Alzheimer's Daycare Centre unit in South Kildare, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland receives funding on an annual basis from the HSE to provide services and supports within the Kildare area to the people with dementia, their families and their carers. These services are in addition to supports provided directly by the HSE. The Alzheimer's Society operates a daycare service 3 days a week for Moore Abbey in Monasterevin, and a home care service which assists families to care for people with dementia in their own home. The HSE has undertaken an extensive review of the daycare service provided in Monasterevin to analyse the uptake of the service provided, the cost of providing that service and the families that are currently available to the Society. The review has identified that attendances at the daycare centre are only reaching 50% capacity on some days of the week. The HSE has recently met with the Alzheimer's Society to consider the results of the review. Following on from these discussions, it has been agreed to continue the service on a 3-day-week basis in Monasterevin and to promote the service locally to see if other clients can be encouraged to attend, thereby increasing attendance rates and the viability of the service. The HSE and the Alzheimer's Society have agreed to monitor attendances over the 4 months, while also seeking a new location from the service from April 2017, where the Moore Abbey premises will no longer be available.
I get 2 minutes for a supplementary statement, Deputy O'Loughlin.
Okay, thank you, Laskin Carla. Minister, I have to say that I'm not very happy with that response. I already addressed the issue of why there is not 100% take-up of the places because of the issues in relation to transport. And I would like to point out that there is a daily payment made by the users of the facility, and it's not that I want to bring money or commerce into this scenario. I attended the opening of this over a year ago, and the joy was very evident of the users and indeed the family members, and I want to pay tribute to the excellent staff that are there. And only a few short months ago, less than a year since the facility was opened, I found families there in the midst of huge distress where the location of the unit is totally uncertain after April. There is no mention in the response whatsoever in relation to the unit in Drogheda Street, which is going to be refurbished, and I think it makes complete sense to have it there. So I really would ask you to ask your colleague and to impress on him the importance of having this unit relocated back to Drogheda Street. And I know I don't have to say to you, Minister, but I just want to re-emphasise again just that the fact that these illnesses have a very far-reaching effect on more than just the sufferer. And these diseases are absolutely relentless. They may be gradual, but they're absolutely relentless. And the families of the patient and the carers have their lives changed beyond all recognition. The victims of this silent disease are on many occasions unable to make their voices heard, and often oftentimes their carers and their families are far too busy caring to be able to take up the issue and to lobby and to start a campaign to make their lives a little bit more bearable. Martina Foster, as I said, was the very first person to contact me. However, since she did, the number of people that have contacted me with absolute outrage at the reduction in services has been very constant, with all families of the individuals contacting me, looking for support and asking to plead their case. And on their behalf, I'm pleading with you, Minister, and I'm pleading with the Government to assist the Alzheimer's Society in locating a suitable premises. And as I say, the unit in Drogheda Street in Monasterevin is absolutely the place to be. This is an essential service, and it's imperative that we're able to ascertain that this is the place where they're going to be to have a service beyond April 2017.
Concluding statement.
Okay, and I want to thank Deputy Logan for the issues raised, and also just to reassure. First of all, I meant to say earlier on, apologies for Minister Simon Harris, but he's out of the country at a very important conference. Can I say, I take your point on the money issue, because when you look at the details, the fact the Alzheimer's Society receives funding from the HSE of €212,347 per annum to provide services within the Kildare area to people with dementia. Now, these services have to be expanded and developed, and that's something they're working on. The Society also provides additional supports to the supports provided by the HSE. Now, the historical background to it there, the day service historically was provided from the old GP surgery Drogheda Street, Monasterevin for the Kildare area, as this was the only accommodation available. And the service was provided 3 days per week. The building, though, was inadequate and did not provide a safe environment, and due to the building being unsafe, the HSE had to restrict the access to the building for the safety of the staff and claimants. And at that time, then the service, as you mentioned yourself, moved to the GA outside Monasterevin GA Club. But this site was not suitable for a number of reasons, as many would expect. The other issue, though, is, and I take your point about the transport and the reduction of 50%. The attendances at the day centre on average were 50% capacity on some days. But you were making the point that it is due to the weakness in the transport system. That's something. And then I noticed that in the recent update from the Alzheimer's Society, 5 to 8 clients were attending this service on a Friday, and there has been no increase on Thursday. So what I'd say is the HSE and the Alzheimer's Society have agreed to monitor the attendances over the next 4 months, while also seeking the new premises for the service from April 2017. But of course, the issues you have raised, I will bring them back to Minister Harris and push them further. Thank you.